The world of fashion is always evolving, but the way we view style has drastically changed over the years. Are industry staples like Vogue magazine and New York Fashion Week on their way out, and what will they be replaced with? If you thought that over-the-top pricey designer clothes are a recent invention, think again. As long as people have been covering themselves in clothing, there have been those willing to capitalize on their desires to look their best. For example, Paul Poiret was once the most fashionable dress designer prior to World War I. In 2010, the cheapest of his designs cost double the annual salary of the average scullery maid. He was responsible for corsets falling out of style in favor of bras, which definitely made women breathe easier, literally. But he also invented the hobble skirt, which is ridiculously difficult to walk in. According to Paul, he freed the bust and he shackled the legs. There have always been designers like Paul pushing high-priced items and introducing new trends, but these people aren't entirely responsible for the evolution of fashion. Major world events have a surprising impact on the clothing we wear, as Paul found out the hard way when he returned home after World War I. His once highly prized cutting-edge and elaborate designs were now terribly unfashionable. Women could no longer afford to be hobbled in ridiculous skirts. They started wearing more pants and practical items because they had work to do. This began the rise of the legendary Coco Chanel, whose no-frill designs and sportswear were huge hits during the First World War. When World War II happened, civilians worried about air raids, so styles like long-sleeved jumpsuits were popular. These siren suits could be easily pulled on within a moment's notice and still manage to look stylish. Designers like Edith Head and Andrew Lever embraced making clothes for the working class. Since this was a time when function was valued over form, designers tried to sneak in little luxuries where they could, and hats became the fashion accessory of the time. Human history has always impacted fashion, but the opposite is also true. Style can be used to influence events, bring people together, and advertise allegiances. Mary Quant was a pioneer of the mod look and is often credited with creating the miniskirt. This is definitely a style we take for granted now, but back in the 60s, it was revolutionary. These short skirts represented young people who were dressing to please themselves instead of worrying about what other people thought. Even today, it's not uncommon for clothing to send a message, like when celebs wore black to the 2018 Golden Globes to show their support for survivors of abuse. The idea was to promote the Time's Up movement by prompting interviews to ask celebs like Emma Stone and Mariah Carey why they were wearing black instead of who made their clothes. The right outfit can definitely help send a message, but who do we look to for guidance on how to fill our closets? For a long time, illustrious fashion houses like Christian Dior and Saint Laurent helped provide fashion inspiration even for those of us who can't quite afford them. But being officially labeled haute couture isn't easy, and it's only gotten more difficult as time goes on. In 1946, there were 106 couture houses, but in 1970, that number had dropped to only 19. The strict rules from Les Chambres Syndicales de la Haute Couture got harder to follow when the number of post-war mass-produced goods increased. Gianni Versace's company had been a big name since it was founded in 1978, but Versace was forced to cancel its annual fashion show from 2004 to 2012 due to the recession hurting its profit margins too much. Yet there are plenty of fashion icons out there who aren't giving up. Karl Lagerfeld staged the Fendi Autumn-Winter 2016 Couture Show to celebrate the 90th anniversary of Chanel. You might notice some familiar faces among the models, including Kendall Jenner and Bella Hadid, because if fashion houses want to survive, they're going to have to adapt, and that means utilizing social media stars. Not only has what we find fashionable changed over the years, but the entire way we shop for clothing is different. Of course, one obvious change is that now we're doing most of our shopping online. But the internet is also where we go to get fashion inspiration. We follow people like Kim Kardashian to get ideas about what to wear. There's no longer a need to pick up a copy of Vogue when you can just look at photos on Pinterest or check Selena Gomez's Instagram. Some people have even started to wonder if we still need things that were once industry staples, like the infamous New York Fashion Week. For a long time, runway shows were an essential chance for designers to show off their collections. This allowed magazine editors and buyers the chance to plan content and make important purchasing decisions. Until the first official New York Fashion Week in 1993, these events were scattered all over the city, and switching to a centralized time and location was way more convenient. This also made it easier for American fashion designers like Calvin Klein to get their work noticed. But now, influencers are on the scene, and candid or supposedly candid street style photos are what people want to see. Instead of watching models on the catwalk, we're looking at Hailey Baldwin rocking a fall pantsuit, or Priyanka Chopra looking stunning in this offbeat dress. Did we mention that runway shows are really expensive? Hosting a show can cost anywhere from $125,000 to $300,000, not including the price of samples. Suddenly, the Kardashians showing off all of their clothing lines right on Instagram seems like an even more brilliant strategy. Why drop hundreds of thousands of dollars when your audience is more interested in scrolling through social media and checking out the latest street style? While Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour refuses to get her own Instagram, even she acknowledges that this is how most people get their fashion news now.
No, I am not going to get my own Instagram handle, but I suggest that you religiously.
For a long time, this major fashion publication stood out because it featured exclusive fashion, models, and designers. But now it seems like the majority of people don't want exclusivity, they want inclusivity. Not only does social media give us unprecedented access to style inspiration, but it also lets us voice our opinions on what we see. Kim Kardashian was slammed online for allegedly not including enough darker shades of her concealer. Meanwhile, Rihanna has made a mint by showcasing a wide variety of skin tones and body sizes, and providing products to match. When Aerie started featuring anti-airbrushing, more authentic models, their sales increased 38% in the first quarter of 2018. Its parent company, American Eagle, predicts that the brand will be worth about $1 billion within the next few years. Meanwhile, one-time industry behemoth Victoria's Secret has been forced to cancel their annual fashion show. Even their former angel Karlie Kloss claims that they simply failed to evolve and embrace the body positivity and inclusivity that consumers crave. But are these trends really here to stay? After all, Coco Chanel once said, "Fashion is made to become unfashionable." Trends come and go, but they're notoriously cyclical. Many fashion analysts believe in a 20-year rule when it comes to styles repeating. Stanley Marcus, former president of Neiman Marcus, stocked his stores using a 50-year rule. Regardless of what's hot at the moment, it's safe to say that there is a lot of money tied up in this industry. The global apparel market was worth $1.3 trillion in 2015 and is expected to grow to $1.5 trillion by 2020. In the United States alone, there are 1.8 million people working in the fashion industry, and 23,000 of them are responsible for creating textiles for clothing. Some of the world's biggest fashion brands are located in the US, including Nike, which has a market value of approximately $105 billion. We all know athleisure is a hot look. It's one Kylie Jenner has mastered after all. Globally, around 70% of people work remotely at least one day per week, so it makes sense that more people than ever are looking for clothes that are comfortable yet stylish. But that kind of look isn't an option for everyone. The royal family sticks with formal dress in order to portray a classic and traditional image. Have you ever wondered why Prince George always wears shorts? Before the late 19th century, it was actually the fashion for young boys to wear gowns until they were around the age of 8. Then it became the style for formal boys to wear shorts, so this is a tradition the royal family has chosen to continue. Don't expect to see Meghan Markle or Kate Middleton rocking athleisure anytime soon. Even though these women can't have their own Instagram, they still have a huge impact on fashion. As soon as they're spotted wearing something, it immediately sells out, and that's not a coincidence. It's due to their status as celebrities. When Kylie Jenner made a totally relatable post about her $5,000 Cartier love bracelet being stuck on her wrist, the photo showed that she was wearing over $40,000 of bling. This post might have made some fans roll their eyes, but it also made the bracelet the most searched jewelry item online, with 353,000 queries in a single month. Consumers now have access to more different style options than ever before, which means well-established luxury houses are having to adapt in order to survive. But that doesn't mean it'll happen overnight. The market for plus-sized women's clothing in the United States will be worth an estimated $31.9 billion in 2020. 11% of mass-produced clothing is available in a size 14 and up, while only 0.6% of luxury fashion can say the same. But now, brands like Diane von Furstenberg and Dolce & Gabbana are finally adding more sizes to increase their amount of potential customers. Since fashion is now more accessible than ever, representation has become something that is no longer optional. Using celebrities to advertise clothes is still a popular method, but it's nowhere near as effective as it once was. We know celebrities get free designer duds to wear on the red carpet, and they have access to the best of the best in terms of clothes and beauty treatments. But when we see influencers, they come across as more authentic, and that makes us trust their judgment and admire their style. According to service company Meltwater, consumers prefer to get their info from influencers over celeb endorsements. Instagram is the most popular platform, with over 8 times more beauty influencers influencers compared to others like Twitter and YouTube. More and more people are seeing magazines like Vogue as a high fashion fantasy instead of something achievable. To combat this, some designers have taken a break from creating clothing and are now focused on making furniture. It might sound strange, but many brands like Gucci now have their own lines of home decor. Instead of selling clothing, they're focused on selling a lifestyle. Gucci creative director Alessandro Michele believes on selling consumers on experience instead of just a piece of clothing. What do you think about the way fashion has evolved over the years? Are there any old trends you're hoping make a reappearance soon, or are you excited about what will come next? Let us know what you think in the comments section, and don't forget to click on the subscribe button for more new videos from us here at The Taco. See you next time!